empty-handed. He presented Jana with a small velvet box. Inside was her grandmother's cameo, the one she had pawned 3 months ago to cover a rent shortfall. He had used Stanley's bribe to buy it back. The anger in the room vanished instantly. In the world of 201, loyalty and a well-timed gift were the only things that kept the chaos at bay. Chapter 2: The Four-Legged Fugitive. The second major crisis of the month arrived in the form of a whimpering cardboard box. Jack's friend, Honest Larry, a man who sold used cars with the soul of a gambler, had gifted Jack a puppy to settle a $25 debt. Larry has a soft spot for animals, Jack explained as the 3 of them hovered over the golden furred creature. Jack, you know the rules, Jana warned, her pragmatic side taking over. Roper's lease is very clear. No pets, no children, no exceptions. If he hears a single bark, we're all living in the park. But look at her. Chrissy cooed as the puppy licked her nose. She's housebroken. Mostly. They decided to keep the puppy, whom they named Prince, despite her being a girl. But it required a level of domestic espionage that would have impressed the CIA. Every time Stanley Roper walked past the door, they had to turn up the TV or pretend they were making strange barking noises themselves. The night walker returns. The stress of the secret dog triggered an old affliction in Chrissy: sleepwalking. It had started back when she was a minister's daughter, a byproduct of the pressure to be perfect. Late one Tuesday, Jana found Chrissy wandering toward the front door in her nightgown, her eyes wide but unseeing. Chrissy, stop. You're going into the hallway. Mr. Rogers, the hands, the explorer, Chrissy muttered, referencing a difficult boss at her office. Jack emerged from his room, rubbing his eyes. Is she doing it again? Did the dog wake her up? No, she's doing it herself, Jana whispered. They managed to steer her back to bed. But the incident hadn't gone unnoticed. Stanley Roper, who claimed he was checking the weather at 3:00 a.m., had seen Chrissy through the window. Tell your roommate to get dressed. before she goes strolling in the moonlight. Stanley grumbled the next morning. This isn't a nudist colony, the stew of many secrets. The situation reached a breaking point during a dinner Jack was preparing for a class assignment. Beef bourguignon. In the clutter of the kitchen, a can of gourmet dog food had been misplaced next to the French ingredients. When Helen Roper stopped by to borrow milk, Jack, in a moment of panic and neighborly kindness, offered her some of the leftovers. He handed her a container of what he thought was the stew. It was, in fact, the puppy's dinner mixed with bone meal. Realizing the error too late, Jack rushed downstairs to find Stanley about to tuck into a bowl of the stuff. "Stop! Don't eat that!" Jack shouted, lunging across the room and dumping the bowl into the sink. "What is wrong with you, Tripper?" Stanley roared. "That was my dinner." Jack had to weave a complicated lie about experimental spices and allergic reactions. To smooth things over and to find the puppy a permanent home, Chrissy sleepwalked the dog onto the Ropers' doorstep the next morning. Helen was convinced it was an anniversary gift from Stanley. "Oh, Stanley, he's darling. You remembered." Stanley, confused but unwilling to look like a man who forgot his anniversary, played along. "Yeah, just what I always wanted. A rug with a pulse." Chapter 3, The Legend of the Metal Plate. Being a man in 1970s Santa Monica meant navigating a world of bravado that Jack Tripper wasn't entirely equipped for. He was a chef, a storyteller, and a champion of the clumsy fall. But he was not a fighter. This became an issue at the Regal Beagle, their local haunt. A man the size of a small refrigerator took an interest in Jana and Chrissy, making comments that were less than gentlemanly. "Buy you a drink, Blondie?" The man growled at Chrissy. "No, thank you," Chrissy said, her voice trembling. Jack, feeling the eyes of the entire pub on him, stood up. "Look, friend, why don't you take a walk?" The man stood up and kept standing until he towered over Jack by a full head. "The last guy who told me to take a walk is still in the hospital." You want to be next. Jack weighed his options and decided that discretion was the better part of valor. He sat